We are following breaking news as we come on the air. A verdict has been reached in the manslaughter trial of 2 Colorado paramedics charged in the death of Elijah McClain. Jeremy Cooper and Peter Cichuniec have both been found guilty of criminally negligent homicide. NBC News legal analyst Angela Senadella joins me now. Angela, thanks for being here. Tell us a little bit about how long it took for the jury to reach this verdict.
It did not take that long, and that means that they had a large likelihood of believing that these 2 defendants met the standard here. So for criminally negligent homicide, the standard is that what they did deviated so far from the standard of care that these people can be held responsible for the death of Elijah McClain. So it was pretty fast, and that means that they all agreed.
And Angela, of course, these are, life-saving, trained paramedics who are charged and found guilty here. I would have to imagine that the legal standard for charging them with something like this has to be very, very high. How uncommon is it in your experience that somebody with this job title would suddenly be on the receiving end of a verdict like this?
It's extremely unlikely, and that is also why the defense said, look, these men were just doing their job, and they decided that this man in this condition was suffering from excited delirium, which is, even though it's controversial, it is considered to be a medical diagnosis, and that they acted in a way that they felt was consistent with what a professional would do at that time. So this is extremely uncommon. But that said, the prosecutors had strong arguments that clearly the jury believed. The prosecutors really honed in on the fact that these paramedics did not do a lot of the things that were required prior to giving the ketamine. And that means they didn't take vital signs. They didn't talk to the police. They didn't ask questions. So in a case like this, what happens is that you focus on the industry. What is the standard of care in this paramedic industry? When paramedics arrive, do they not ask questions? Do they not take vital signs? And here it seems that they generally do, and that's why they were found guilty.
And Angela, both of them found guilty here of criminally negligent homicide, but found innocent of assault in the 2nd degree. Help us understand the distinction between those 2 charges and what we might understand from that here.
It is so interesting because there was a question of intent here, and it appears that the jury did not believe that these men intentionally harmed or killed or in any way committed bodily injury to Elijah McClain. So they do understand that it was an accident, meaning that it was not intentional. But that's the standard for criminally negligent homicide is that you should have known. So it doesn't actually matter if you knew or you didn't. It means that you deviated so extremely from the industry standard of care that you should have known better.
Angela Senadella helping us understand the distinction between having done something terrible on purpose here and, in this case, in fact, having made a mistake so terrible you're found guilty in a court of law. Angela, thank you so much for being with us. Joining me now with more is NBC News correspondent Steve Patterson. Steve, we are just getting this verdict. How much time are these 2 facing here? And if you can, reacquaint us with the facts of this case.
So we'll start there. I mean, obviously, this case started back in 2019, so it's been long to watch. We've now had 3 trials with several police officers, 2, in fact, being acquitted, 1 being found guilty for reckless homicide, in this case of Elijah McClain. And a lot of it stems, of course, from what the care was on site. And it's so rare, I think Angela pointed out, to have medical professionals that are on site in an emergency situation where police have custody of the scene for them to be found convicted and not some of the officers that engaged in arresting McClain or putting him in custody in the first place, which is why I think so many in the legal community, and especially experts watching this case, have said that the prosecution really has an uphill battle on this trial. To reacquaint you, Elijah McClain was walking home 2019, had a ski mask on, was doing nothing criminally wrong, was accosted by police officers, was taken to the ground, had a carotid chokehold placed on him, lost consciousness, was vomiting, was very upset, was pleading essentially for his life and saying, "I'm sorry," on scene, to which police kind of kept him in that same position until these EMTs arrived. According to prosecutors, despite his pleas, despite what they saw, despite police sort of manhandling him and throwing him to the ground and not really checking on his vitals, that they went ahead and administered ketamine, that they were told that he was in some sort of state of excited delirium, which has been a real source of consternation, both with the legal community and in this trial, which is sort of a hyper expressive state to which police claim that they didn't necessarily have control of the scene. And that was the argument from the defense team of these emergency workers that arrived on scene, that the scene was so out of control that they couldn't have possibly checked on his status before not only administering the ketamine, but also before really checking to see how he was. Because that was the argument from the defense, is not only did you administer this overdose of a drug that wound up, according to the report, leading to his death, but also that there was gross negligence because you never asked him how he was doing. You never checked on him. You never got the scene from police to say, we need to administer care as well. And then that fatal dose of ketamine was for a man that would have been 200 pounds, where Elijah McClain was 143 pounds. So already 50% over the dose that he would have been required to feel sedate. So obviously a lot goes into this case. I think this is a surprise verdict on many fronts, and something that, you know, now after 3 trials, finally there is a resolution here. Jacob.
And Steve, remind us again, you know, the importance that this trial took on, the symbolism that it took on, right? Elijah McClain, a 23-year-old masseuse, a vegetarian, a man who, according to people close to him, you know, took instruments to play to abandoned animals at the local shelter. You know, just the sort of innocence incarnate, and then winds up dead at the hands of these paramedics and police. Obviously set off protests across the country, drew incredible amounts of attention. Remind us a little bit about just sort of the broad symbolism of this case and the national attention that came to bear on it.
Well, a couple of things here. As you mentioned, Jacob, I mean, this was a sweetheart, an innocent person. This was not somebody that was necessarily known to police, as prosecutors or defense attorneys like to point out during these trials, wrong though they may be, of how the police put that person into custody. This was an innocent person. You know, the reports, by all respects, found that he was doing absolutely nothing criminally wrong, except looking like he may have been doing something wrong to the shop owner that was down the street. So already that's upsetting, not just to the community there in Colorado, but to really people across the country, no matter what your race, creed, religion is, to hear something like that, that this could happen to you know, essentially a young man that was, by all accounts, an innocent person, I think was upsetting for a lot of people. And then you have, of course, the time and place that this happens, 2019, right? So all through COVID and all through George Floyd and all through the protests about policing that were set off during that time period only further inflamed the reaction throughout each one of these trials until they finally took place. So a huge, momentous time for civil rights. And then you have this case happen, to which many people were upset to hear about, especially with the acquittal of some of these officers, Jacob.
NBC's Steve Patterson, who's been following this from the beginning. Steve, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.